All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing amazing and you can hear me properly. Let me just. All right. We'll wait for another 5 minutes as usual and we'll get started as quickly as we can. And we will be having at least 1.5 hours of proper learning today. We'll go through most of the tags. I understand we have missed a lot of classes and there is a lot of things pending. But also there we did start the class by 10th, I think, in the last month, so we do have still almost a week or more than a week to actually cover all the portions and whatever is necessary at least. All right. So with respect to your project work and all that, I do have something in mind. So I have planning to group everybody as soon as possible. So what I'll be doing is, if you have filled up your Google form, correct, and if you have joined the Google Classroom link, I will post uh, a Google. Sorry, my bad. I'm going to be posting a notes in that Google Classroom where you can choose what type of group you want to be in. Okay. For example, if you want to be in a group which you have already been made, for example, if you're in probably you have a friend of yours who want to do the project work with, or somebody who have somebody in this group who want to do a project work with, right? So there are different types of groups. So you can choose what type of group you want to do. Okay. So this is the thing what I'll be doing by probably today or tomorrow. Okay. So this is what you'll get in the inside the Telegram. Sorry, not Telegram, in the Google Classroom directly. Okay. So that is the reason you have to have the Google Classroom installed either in your system or join it at least in some point, right? Okay. All right, guys. I hope all of you are doing amazing. I think we are still waiting for people to join in. Please switch on your cameras. If you are not able to switch on, please put it in the chat box why you are not able to switch on. You can hear me, right? All good. All good. You can hear me. All good. Okay, Muhammad, Abhay. Okay, Shama, Pratik. All right, good. All right. So what we are going to be doing is going to be continuing where we have left off. I think we were into CSS and we were looking at what exactly CSS and selectors. I think we covered. I think I'll quickly share my screen and we'll get started with it. Yes. So again, just a small recap. In another, I think 1 or 2 minutes, we'll have a small recap and we'll get continue with the remaining classes. Okay. So in the last class, we were looking at, yeah, okay. So yeah, let's start the output and see what exactly we had. Okay, so we were looking at buttons, which I was not able to figure out, right? So today I have a little bit more to actually show you. And also, I think either Gautam or Gaurav, somebody had reached out to me and were asking about background images. So we'll look at background images, and there are a few more tags which I have in mind, which I'll be talking to you directly about. Okay. So with respect to
सर
CSS, yes,
एक रिक्वेस्ट है
हाँ
लास्ट
बोलो,
क्लास रिपीट कर सकते हो
हाँ हाँ, that is what I'm doing it. Okay, अभी ये वही कर रहा हूँ. Okay,
ओके ओके
हाँ, I'll so first 5 minutes, at least 2 or 3 minutes, we'll do a recap of what we did in the last class. Okay. So in the last class, we were looking at all the types of CSS files, correct? We were looking at the selectors, that is body selector, sorry, the element selector and the ID selector with a hashtag, right? And also the dot selector with a class, correct? And I told you there are, you can combine 2, 3 selectors if you want. And there was, I think I showed you one particular thing where you can, cover combine 2 or 3 selectors. Okay, so that is what we did in the last class. Yes, somebody has 60 something. Okay, good. All right, guys, same thing as usual. If you are not able to switch on your cameras, please put it in chat box. And excuse me, my voice is a little out. I do have a little fever and cough. So that is the actual reason why we were not able to take a class for almost 2 to 3 days, right? So I'm excuse me while I know there will be a little bit of stutter because I do my tongue is not really I'm not able to talk properly as well. So apart from that, let's have a look at the actual things what we learned. So I think we learned about the yeah. So we learned about the border tag, color tag, padding, and text align, right? So this is a few of the things which we had learned in the last class. So let's improve that. Okay. So we're gonna look at exactly how to actually make a button more interactive. Okay. That is, we will look at it as a hovering effect. We will look at the coloring effect of it. We will also look at something called as active link and a passive link. Okay, and also there is something called as favicon or fav icon. So we will look at how to implement that. With as you know, when we complete all these, we will start up with something new that is called as CSS Bootstrap. Okay, if you have not heard of it, it's a framework of CSS with JS, that is JavaScript. So we'll be looking at how you can actually use Bootstrap for your more usability of using CSS or JS, right? We'll also be looking at the ways of improving your website with either the CSS framework, or individually if you are using CSS on your own. We'll look at how to actually improve that. Okay, so again, just a small recap. Again, we had looked at background color, we looked at border color, padding, and width and height. Correct, let me, I think, yeah, so that particular thing is somewhere. Okay, and we'll anyways, we'll be covering all of that again, so we will look at that today. This is needed. Okay. So what do we have in store for today? So there's a small change which I have made to the output. Okay, one is that we will be looking at something called as background images. Now for this, you have to first download a image. Now how do you download an image? There is a really good website called as unsplash.com. You can go to Unsplash. Okay, you will find almost all the types of royalty free images. Okay, and I'll explain why it's very important to have a royalty free image. It basically means there you won't get any copyright issues if you are using any royalty free images. So let's say we want a background image of laptops. Okay, you type laptops, you say let's say I want this particular type. Okay, I click here. Now I can select what type or the size I want. Okay. For this particular thing, let's go to medium. I think people are still yet to join in. Okay. So I think I have downloaded the image. Yes. So what I will be doing is I'll be just copying this particular image. Okay. And we'll be putting it in the Manoj file. Here we go. And let's rename this as a hero image. Okay. Now, until now, we have looked at in the HTML. Okay, until now we have looked at only the image tag, correct? IMG tag. Now let's look at how do we use it in a background. Okay, let's understand how do we use it in a background and where exactly do you put that background in. For example, I think you had asked me, I think either Gaurav or, again, I'm so sorry if I'm not getting your name right. I think Gaurav or Gautam, one of you people had texted me regarding this. Sir, where do we put the background image? I had suggested put it in a division, or put it in a section. Okay. The question was why not put it in the body tag itself directly? Okay. This is the body tag. Why not put the image here directly? Okay. Now there are two to three variations of why you can use this and not use this. Okay. One is that when you are putting a background image. Okay. There are two things which you have to understand is that there is an image which will be loading. If the image fails to load, there should be some alternative you need to give. Okay. For example, in the uh, IMG tag, we also always give a source and an alternative. Correct. While you are giving a background image as well, same thing will happen. You'll have to give a background image as well as something alternative if the image fails to load. Okay, how do we do it? We'll go directly to CSS. I think it's showing some error somewhere. Two columns. This is the error. Yes. Okay. So first of all, let's insert that particular color or that particular image here. Yeah, here we have the hero image. Okay. Right now the output looks something like this. Here we have uh, the actual title. Okay, or the H1 tag. We have a little bit of a div here. This is for the menu tag, right? A navigation tag. There is another tag and a few on so on and so forth. So this is how the website looks like currently. What if I want to add an image here? Okay, not just the image. I want it to be in the background. How do we do it? Let's have a look. Okay, first of all, let's see where exactly that particular code is. So it's after the navigation, that is the header tag. It's in the main section. So here is what where we will add the image. Okay. So what I will do is I will create a class. The class is called BGIMG, that is background image. Okay. So this is the class which I have created. Let's go to CSS. Let's scroll down. Let's use BGIMG. Okay. This is the class which we have created. Right. So for this, it's fairly straightforward. The attributes are background color, sorry, background image, and something called as URL. Okay, you'll use something called as URL, and this is where you put the image, either the path or the name. Okay, since it is already in the Manoj file, we'll directly use the here we go. So it's already we'll directly use the file. So what are we doing? This is the hero.png JPG. That is the file which is here, correct? And we'll directly link it. So how do you link it? Using background image. This is the attribute, and inside the attribute, you'll use the URL in the prefix, and with the URL, you will put the link of the image. Okay, let's save this for now, and let's have a look of exactly how it looks like. Okay, it's saved. It's not. I think it's not saved yet. Split the screen. Here we go. So we are getting something. We are getting uh, we are getting a black screen. Why is that? Let's go to the image and have a look. Here we go. So when you are, actually looking at the image, it looks very black because it is only showing us the top part. Okay. Now to show the complete image, there are few techniques how you do it, and also few variations which you'll understand on what to use properly. First is when you are editing an image, the first and the most easiest way to show the complete image is to just crop it in the right form you want to show. Okay, that is the first size. The wait, let me show the code. That is what I'm saying is right now the image is wait, what size was it in? I think it was in something around, hold on. Yeah, so the size, current size of the image is 1920 into 1440. Okay, this is the current size of the file. One, you can directly edit the file to suit somewhere around 1200. Okay, 1200 into, let's say, 500 pixels is really good. Okay, I'm not able to join. Okay, let me make everybody join in. Okay, so that is the current size, correct? The most suitable size is somewhere around 1200 into 500. Okay, so this is what I suggest. That means, how do we do it? First, you go to the file, open it. I think it's already open. We go to edit and we crop it as we want. Okay. Now, 1200 into 1200 into 500 will be something like this. Okay. Or you can do always a resize. Okay. And you can just put your size in here. 1200. The 600. This is fine as well if it's okay. Not an issue at all. If you want 500, you can choose 500. Okay. It's anyways taking something like this is fine. Let's save this. Let's keep it as hero one. Let's go to the Manoj file folder. Here we go and save here. Okay. So this is one way of doing it. Okay. I think people are still yet to join in. Okay. Let's go back to the code. So we have hero one here. Let's add that particular thing. So now we have changed the image. Okay. And if you are still not getting that image properly, okay, I think it's not saved yet. Yeah. So now it's loaded, and if you're still not getting the image here, okay, how you have to counter is you go to the code again. Okay. Okay. People are still joining in, guys. Excuse me while I keep going back and forth. Okay. So how do you do it? One is you add padding. Okay. Padding, let's say around 50 pixels and save. Okay. Now it shows this much. Okay. If you're like, okay, let's add a little more, let's say around 200. Here we go. Now the image looks a little odd, correct? And it looks like it's repeating, correct? See, here is the image. Again, you see the image here. So how do we avoid this thing? Okay, let me add. Now, how do we avoid this thing? You can do one or two things. First, you can create something called as background repeat, and you can say no repeat. Okay, I have saved it. Let's go to code, and now it is not repeated. Okay, now you see the image looks a little short, correct? Again, you can still adjust it by either the margin or the padding. Let's say I want the padding is not that good, so what I do is you have different types of padding. Okay, that is top padding, bottom, left, and right. How do you use it? Padding hyphen left. Okay, you can use something like this, and let's say around 100. That means only the left side of the padding will be increased. Let's have a look how exactly this looks like. Okay, so only this side it will be a lot of padding will be given, but we want it a little top and in the bottom, right? So what do we do?
Right, Darshila, sir, please repeat this one. Padding left and right.
Padding. Okay, okay. So in padding, what happens is there are a lot of padding. What is padding? First of all, let's look at the code again. I can explain properly here. Okay, so you see here, you see this little icon outside the padding. So this is the actual content. Okay, what you're seeing right now highlighted is the actual content inside the tag. But outside, this is what we call as padding. If you can see this, wait, let me. Yeah. So this outside is what we call as padding. Okay, and this is the border. And after the border is where the margin comes in. Okay. So if you want to change something, for example, we are currently we are not able to see the full image. That means the padding is a little low. Okay, so we change the padding to suit our desire. We to suit our output. Right. In case if we add two images, one here, and the images is overlapping each other, then what we do, we increase the margin. Okay, margin is what outside the border is. Correct. So if in case you have no, we had this issue in the last class also, right? We added a button, two or three buttons we added, but it was merging together. How do you differentiate it? We add margin to make it a little different, or we keep it in a different divisions itself. Okay. So this is one thing, and for that there is always a top padding that is on the top, bottom padding, left and right. Okay. So in the code, all you have to do is pad uh, top, let's say around 100 pixels here also, or let's say 200 pixels. Okay, and save. Let's see what the output is. Yeah, this is the output. Now on the top, there's a lot of padding. I want it in the bottom as well. So what I do is I just come here, add down or bottom and 200 pixels. Okay, saved. I think I have. Okay, now there's a padding on the bottom. Now the color, obviously we have to change the color, right? We can keep it into white. So what is the font we have used there? Or let's say we can change the color here on the color equals white. Terminate it. Yes, now it's white. Now you can say that it is not really that good, right? Now what happens is there are different types of how you can actually tackle this as well. One, the background is a little off. Okay, so that is why the white text is being merged with the background. Correct? Right? Somebody has put something in the chat box. I'm not able to switch on the camera. Okay. Yes, Gautam, you can.
Yes, sir. Sir, can we use the background size?
Background size. Yes, you can. Yes. So background size, you can use. Let's say okay. Let's see the output, and I'll show you what exactly is the use of it. Okay. Let's say around.
Cover, sir.
Sorry.
Cover. Background size, sir. Cover.
Sure. Now this will increase the image stretching. Okay, that is the reason why I told you can either look at the image properly. Okay, that means you have to make sure the image is proper. That is, you have to keep it in certain ratios. Only then it will look good when you're using cover. That's not only the thing which you can use. You can also use something called as, let's see, not repeat. Let this be. Okay. So what we can do is we can always use a little bit of color repeat. Wait, let me not repeat also is not needed. Let's say I take this off. Okay. So I come back. I have no I forgot about the code. Okay. So one thing is the image is always going to be a little stretchy, right? That is the reason you usually don't use the cover unless you have a proper size of the image. Okay. Also, when you're using non-repeat or repeat, there are some things which you have to keep in mind. Oh wait, I think I am not keeping the background color because let's just keep the background color. So this is the background color is what will be shown in case the color is not the image is not being loaded. Here we go. So in case the image is not loaded, for example, something like this happens. Something like this happens. Okay. So this is the case. Now only the image will be shown, right? But also when the image is there, okay. How do we use the actual color to actually blend with the background? Okay, so there is how we actually blend the color in the background with the image so that the image, whatever is here, not the image, the text, whatever is here, can be highlighted or shown properly. Okay, so that is one more thing which I will show you. But before that, I think we have covered a little more. So let's cover that. Okay. So this was about the now on with expected repeat. Okay. Now why I say no repeat? I want to use of repeat. Okay. So when you're using a repeat, let's bring that back on please. Okay. So the whole point of repeat. Okay. Let's not keep over here. that when the image repeats, now what image do you want to repeat in a repeat? For example, there is a background which has a little bit of pattern. Okay. Let's say patterns. Let's download the image has a really good background pattern. Lot of patterns. Let's choose. Let's go for this one for now. Go this side. And let's cut this. Let's go to the folder. Let's place here. I'll call it repeat G. Okay. So let's link this now. Repeat G. Now there are a little bit of variations how you can repeat it. Okay. Why do we need it? It's because when the background is particular in something like this. Okay. The image will repeat automatically, especially when there is not padding. Okay. There are you have added as much padding as you want, or there is no padding at all, like this, and you added only the width and height. Okay. So you wanted the width of this particular thing. Width equals say around 200 pixels or 300 pixels. That is the horizontal. The height of it, that is what vertical, that is the height of it. Keep around a 100. Okay. 100 pixels. Yeah, this is the width which have already set, and you have not set the padding. Okay. The image will look something like this. Okay. So this is with repeat, I believe. Yeah, this is with repeat. Now, oh wait, the width is a little too small. So let's increase this to, let's say, 110 to 500 or 600. Good. Let's say this. Now this is where the pattern tends to repeat. Also, there are two variations of how the pattern repeats. One is the horizontal and the vertical. Currently, it is in the vertical because that is how the image is automatically, correct? Because the image, if you look at it, it is in a vertical sense. If you look at the image, yeah, it is in the vertical size, correct? If you want to repeat on the horizontal, also you can do that. Let's go back to the how do you do it? We give a hyphen, and either it's X or Y. X is for horizontal, Y is for vertical. Let's say X, and I here. And I save. Let's go back to the. Okay, this I think it's Y. Okay. So it's okay. It's giving the background color. Yeah. So it is X is always for the horizontal, and Y is for the vertical. I think it's not saved yet. Yeah. So this is how you repeat a color, and if you just keep as repeat, it will repeat all the way. That is X and Y both. It will repeat because I think the image size is a little big. It's not taking the complete size. Let's increase the width here, and maybe you can change the width. Say around 500. Yeah. So this is where you utilize the actual repeat background. Okay. Let's bring in the padding back. And the reason you don't add padding sometimes is depends on what type of content you want in that particular division. Okay. For example, right now the padding looks something like this. Let's bring it back to black so that it can be visible. Okay. This is how and also the reason you add padding is because to make the content look properly, correct? Because now what are we doing? We are doing the complete styling inside one particular tag. Okay. If you, let's say you add a button inside this particular division, right? And inside that, you want the button to have a little bit of space here and there, move here and there. That is where you add padding. That is where you add margins. Right now, you add only the width and height for the complete division or the section of the particular web page. Okay. So right now we have added text that is in somewhere some center here. Let's add a button here. Let's add a small button here and understand how exactly it looks like. I think this is a little too big. Let's decrease it to let's bring down the height. Let's say around 300. 300 is also a little too big. So let me bring it down to 200 pixels. I think 200 pixels is a little too small. I don't think it's being saved though. Yeah, yeah. So this is right. Particular. Yeah. Okay. This looks good. Okay. Okay. So now let's go back to the CSS. Okay. Let's look at two more new things when it comes to links in particular. Okay. So right now the link what we have, let's go to the code. Okay. So right now the links what we have, I think is probably in the top corner. That is the in the navigation. That is a home link, about us, services, and contact us. Okay. So let's actually link these two. There are two or three variations on how you can link it. Okay. One, as you know, you can give a direct hashtag. That is where you use the ID. Okay, you use this is the hashtag, right? This is what you can use the ID of that particular, let's say division and link it here. For example, we have a division called as or a ID called as. We have used IDs somewhere, right? Let's look at some ID. Yeah. Okay, let's give this. If this is the ID name, okay, you can directly link that particular thing like this. Okay, hashtag and the ID name is one way of linking it. That this is what we call as anchor linking. Okay, if the page is within that page, it will directly link. How? I'll show it to you. Let me save this. Okay, it is saved. Let's go back to the code. And what did we link it to? To home. So if I click on home, I should go somewhere. Okay, I am coming directly to this particular section. Okay, that means this link is directly hooked or anchored to what this sentence. If I want, let's say if I click on services, I should directly come to this particular part. Okay, that we can do. Let's have a look at it. Where is this?
Sir,
Yes,
sir, your home button, about button, and service button are side by side. How it is possible?
side by side. Okay, I that is, yeah, I'll explain to you. Just a minute. Okay, you're telling why is it in horizontal, why is not in vertical, right? Yeah, I'll tell it to you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll cover this and I'll tell you. Just a minute. So let's go back to the code and find the services. Right. Someone has joined in now. Okay, we have to go to our services. Here we go. So we have set the service here. Let's put a small ID. Okay, ID equals let's say service, or let's say just serve. Okay, now this is the ID name which we have given. You cannot have multiple ID names. You can have multiple class names. Okay. So if that is the case, let's say service, and I put that particular thing here. Okay. So let's go to the code. If I click on service, I should directly come to services. Okay. This is the services. So this is how you link or hook to the particular content within the web page itself. If in case, okay, you are going to different web pages, correct? That is as usual. You use a normal tag, the normal path. For example, let's create a. Okay, let's take this particular class. For example, if I want to jump to, if I click on about us, I should jump to class 2. Okay, let's see what exactly is in class 2. So this is the code what we have in class 2. Okay, so inside class 3, if we click on about us, okay, we should jump to class 2. Now this is fairly simple again, but I think I have not covered this. So this is the next page which we have linked to. But if you click on home, where should we go? We should go to the bottom of not this contact, to the previous page contact us, right? So let's click on this. It's not going. Why? Because we have not linked it. It is an anchor. If you are in that particular page, it will link, correct? So for that, we just have to go back, not here. So that we have to create a different home page. This is what we call as class 3 HTML. Now, anywhere you click this particular home, you come back to the actual button. I don't think it's loaded. I think it is. Is it taking something else? No. Just hold on. Is that the right thing? Go back. Yeah, but why? I don't know. Where? Okay, I think. Oh, yeah, because that code is different. This code is different. That is the reason. Because it's taking this particular code, and that is why it's not, none of it is working. When we are jumping into the class 2 page, this particular home navigation will be switched on, right? So if you want to link it properly here, let's link it here as well. Okay, here we go. Now it links. We go to about us and let's go back. Yeah, now we can toggle between the links. Also, when you're looking at it, you see there's a small issue. We currently don't know which page we are in unless we look at the content. Okay, so for that there are two variations. That is, one is active link and the next is passive link. Active link is something what we call as once you are currently in that page, okay, that link will be active. That is what you call as active link. Right now we are in this class 3 page, correct? Who has joined in now? Currently we are in the class 3 page, and that link should show. There should be some indication, right? Hey, you are in this particular page, correct? So for that, there are a few things which I will talk within the, uh, let's see where exactly is that. The home button, right? Home button, let's create a class for this. Let's call it active. And anywhere which is having an active link, it should be, it should have that particular attribute. So let's go to the CSS file. Let's say a dot active. Now, what color do you want the link to be? That is what we will look at. So once you are in that page, correct, there should be some indication that hey, you are in, you have already gone to that page, or you have at least in that particular page. So how do you do it? You can choose any color. Let's usually use blue. Let's save. Okay, so if you click on blue, I think it's taking for the whole thing. Just a minute. Wait. My bad. Hold on. Dot active. Also, you have to use something called as active. Okay, let's not get confused with this. Let's change the class name. Let's say act. No, act is the class name. Okay. Now inside act, let's change. Now this is the class name hyphen, and you give active. Okay. So it is automatically will take whenever you that active link is you are in that link. This active will be given with this color. Okay. So let's have a look. Let's click on home. Supposed to change. Let me see why. I have, yeah, this supposed to work. Let's change the color to, let's say, pink. Okay, I'll be linking the same page. Just act home. Let's say for this as well. This will not work. Okay, let me see why it's not working. Just hold on. Last act. Yes, somebody has unmuted. You have any solutions?
Sir, direct target the link, no, sir. The A tag.
The A tag. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see.
Sir, UL and A.
Sorry.
ULLI A tag.
Okay. You will.
LI.
You like it.
A.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
remove the active thing.
No, you can directly say if when only when see this is active should be there.
Okay.
So I'm saying okay now the color itself has changed. No, that's not the point.
Sir, remove the A, starting A.
Starting A
And put it in back.
here
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
doesn't really matter, I guess. Okay, now it's working. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good solution. Who's that? Pradeep? No. Who's
Gaurav,
that?
sir.
Gaurav. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Good solution. Gaurav.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So you can we can directly use it here as well. I mean, without the A as well, I think it should work. It's not working. Why are we using? Okay, yeah, because it's within that class. Okay, yeah, correct. Okay, yeah. So what Gaurav has told is because of the hierarchy. Okay, so what he's telling is UL, IA, and within that the sorry, A exists. Okay, so this is the hierarchy which he has set, and that is why it is working currently. Where did the US? Okay, right. So UL IL and A. So first it comes the UL, then IL, and then active, right? So that is what exactly Gaurav gave, and that is why it is working. Actually, it should work without this also. That is the reason I created a class. If you use a class, you don't need to actually use UL and IL. But I'm not sure why it didn't work. Let me see why it didn't work. Okay, but come back to that. The whole point of me using class is that whenever I click on this link, it should work properly. But if you are using it normally, this is how you usually do it. Okay, but that is the whole point of a class, right? So that the style will remain constant. Okay, so let's move on though. Let's move on. Let me cover one more thing. I think which I forgot in the last class. That is adding a small icon right next to the tab. Okay, currently you see this website has this their logo here, okay, and Google Meet has their logo here, correct? So just like that, how do we add a small a logo of our own here? For that, this is what we call as favicon or fav icon, okay, or I call it favi icon, same thing. Okay, how do we add this fav icon? Okay, let's have a look. So for that, we just have to go to the that particular folder. We go to the head section, okay, and inside we add a link folder. For that, first let's get an image first, okay. Let's say a random logo. Let's say let's pick up. Let's take BMW. No, this is Volkswagen. Let's take a Volkswagen. Let's download it. Let me copy this and put it into that folder. And let's reduce the size. Let's reduce the size to almost. Let's crop it first. Let's take out all the unnecessary things. Okay. Now let's reduce the size. Usually it's 100 or 90. Okay. Let's save it as fab icon. Okay. Let's go to the code. Now what I do is You put in the link. Okay. Now instead of style sheet, you put it as icon, not you icon, icon. And the link you just give the normal link. Wait, it's supposed to be type. The type and you give the image. Where is the image? That is the fab icon. Dot png. Okay. So this I think I am missing something. I will. Okay. Let's see what the output is. So I have saved it. Let's go back to the folder. Yes, we have missed something. For that, I think I have to put in add images slash pg and f. This is where I add the. Here we go. Not PNG, it is JPEG, right? So right. Let's uh, let's save. Let's go back to the file. Now we get that image here. Okay. So this is how you add in a favy icon into your website. You can do something like this, or you can directly. It depends on what type of coding you are using. So if you are using complete code, this is how you change the favy icon. Okay, inside the head tag, you put a new link tag, and you add in all the attributes for that particular image. Okay, make sure the size is a little bit proper, otherwise it will not showcase that. Also, if it's usually around 100 or 90, or what I suggest, okay, is also around 60. Minimum is 60. Don't go beyond below 60. If you go below 60, the image will look a little stretched. So keep it somewhere around 90 aspect ratio. Okay. So this is for the fav icon. Okay. Okay. So until now, I think we have covered some of it. There is thing one last thing which I have to talk about when it comes to buttons. Okay. So how do we actually interact with the button? First of all, there are two or three variations. Okay. One, when you're talking about a button, that means there should be some clicking action, right? It should show that, if I click on this button is a button. It's not just a normal link, correct? So there are few things which you have to keep in place well, for example, with respect to shadow, with respect to active or passive link, right? With respect to what type of border do we have, what type of container we have, correct? For this, what we do is we have something called as hover as well, just like active, right? We looked at something called as active. We also have something called as hover. Okay. The whole concept of hovering, okay, the way same, it's pretty similar to how you use. It's you add in the normal button, okay, with all the ratios. So I have changed the button look a little bit. Here is the one class name of the button. Uh, yes, just hold on 1 second. I'm getting a quick call. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's go back. Okay. So what we were doing? We were looking at the buttons, correct? So buttons is where we actually make sure that the image, the buttons will look properly when you're either clicking on it or interacting with it, right? So there is one thing, either you can change the color, okay? That is through color, the background, padding, you can add a little bit of here and there text, right? One thing you have to understand, whenever there is a button, there always should be one hover. Okay, it is always there, either for a link or for a button. You have to keep the hover. How do you do it? You take in the button. Okay, let's take in the button class dot bnt colon double colon, and you give it as hover. Okay, so now whatever you give the color as, that is the same color which you will see when you're hovering on that particular thing. For that, you have to add in background color. And maybe let's look at what exactly is the color right now. Let's look at what is the color of the button. Scroll down. So button color is something around green. So let's add in a little a different shade of the same color. Okay. For that, let's see what is this. This is the color. Correct. Let me copy this. Come here. So here, the beauty of this is you get a grading right here. So let me add a little dark color. Okay. So whenever you hover on it, you see a little bit of dark color on top. Okay. So this is the color which I have set. Let's save it. Let me, yeah. If I hover on it, okay, this I think I have to change the color for it. I have, yeah. Let's remove this. So this is how you add a little bit of, and basically an extra element, correct? And let's see, there are different types of ratios which you can keep for the border. I think we didn't discuss this. Let's have a look. Right. So what I've done is I've kept everything for a button in one particular text or one particular class. Also, for each button, I have created a different two types of if you remember, two types of classes. One, button two, button three. There's always a BNT, right? So for each button, you can keep different radiuses, you can keep different types of colors, right? So for that, what I've done is I have done something called as the border ratio. Now this is where you can keep a button either in a rectangle shape or you can curve the edges a little. So how do you do it? It's very simple. You just add in the pixel dates. For example, let's say I want around 50 pixels or not 50 pixels will hit too much. Let's say around 5 pixels would be good. Okay, save. And now the curve of the button will be a little different. I think we are not able to distinguish it. Let's say a little more. Let me keep it as 20 pixels. Okay. Now the button is a little curved. Same thing, you can still push it, let's say around 30. You can still push it 50. Here we go. So I think we have added a right button what we need. So this is, if this is the button you want, you can add in the button. And also if you can change the padding, the margin, right? I think so. The margin is what I was looking at. So this, for example, if this was not here, okay, the button would look something like this. There will be no margins here. If we add a margin, then a particular size would be given. Okay, right. Okay, now let's look at the question which somebody had asked. Why is the buttons or the link in a horizontal, not in a vertical? Let's look at that. 2 pixels. Okay. For that, we have to go back. Yes, somebody has texting somewhere. Yes, Gautam. You're on mute.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Can we use the percent in the place of pixel?
Yes.
Just like in pixel in 50%?
Yes, yes. I think I've given a small example here as well. You can use pixels in percentage also. That depends on the actual button size which you have already given. Okay. For example, the padding and the size. So you can directly give the 50% if you want, which I have given. I can give it like 30 or 20, right? So you can directly give percentage. That's not an issue at all. Like this. Okay. So this is how the button will look. So that's totally not a problem at all. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You can use percentage, pixels, EM, REM. You can the whole things which you can use. Not an issue at all. Okay. Okay. So when we are talking about I think we were looking at why the buttons are in vertical, not in sorry, why is it in horizontal, not in vertical, right? So let's go back to the code and understand why exactly this happens. Okay. So these are the links, right? Home, link, and view. Now, why are they in a horizontal, not in vertical? Let's go back. So here we have set in, okay, we have changed a little bit of classes here, but never mind. We'll have a look at it in the direct. I think we have used elements. Let's go to elements. Here we go. Who has come in now? Okay. Okay. So this is exactly what we have used for the line to be in vertical. Okay. Margin is 0, padding is 0. When the style list style type comes in, we have to give it as none. So I think this is what exactly changed it. For example, we can change it as okay. I think there are more. Yeah. So there are a lot of these things which you can use. So if you give none, I believe that is the reason why we get this it in the horizontal. Let's change it and see. Let's take this out. I think I've saved it. Right. So here is the inline as well. So see how many are there. Okay. So these two things. Anything else? No. Inline. Let's take this out as also. So these are the lines which make it into horizontal. Okay. So one is display. Display is basically how you actually want to showcase the element. The actual thing which is making it in the margin, sorry, which is showing it in the vertical is the style list. Okay. Yes. So this is the reason why it is in horizontal, and this is how you can keep it the way you want. And also you can merge it here, you can push it here as well. I think I've given a background ping somewhere for something, yeah, for this. So why I gave this I was testing it out. Okay. So that is how you make it into vertical, right? Using list type, you can make it. Okay. Well, guys, so I think we have a little bit of change. Let's look at what exactly and how exactly can CSS be used in more, let's say, user-friendly way or quick manner. Okay. So for that, we use something called as Bootstrap. Okay. We use what exactly is a Bootstrap and why do we need to use it? So Bootstrap is not the only thing which I recommend. There are so many other frameworks. Now, what we are learning in CSS is what we have to code for each and everything. Correct? That means we have to create classes, we have to create headers, we have to create IDs. We have to do it on our own, and we have to give specifications individually. Correct? When you're using a framework, when you're using any type of framework, what happens is it is already built. Okay, that means body tag has already some attributes within them. A footer has some attributes within them. There for the menu, there's already some attributes within them. So what you can do is you can get that attributes in a very quick calling manner, right? You all you have to do is use that class and it will automatically be implemented. So this is how you use the framework. Okay. The framework, what does it do? It will give you a backbone of the entire thing what you are looking for. If you're looking for, let's say, a certain type of a menu, if you're looking for, let's say, a certain type of a image to be shown, so you don't have to go, go to each code and design. Okay, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. You can directly import that framework inside your particular code, right, and get that whole look instantly. So this is what the benefit of using a framework is. Okay, so for this, we there are a lot of frameworks. Foundation, I think there's so many other frameworks. The one which I will be using is something what we call as Bootstrap. Okay.
सर
Yes.
सर लास्ट क्लास में जो आपने सीएसएस कोड कराया था एक बार वो एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो
Last class में. Okay. वही I think we are looking at only selectors in the pretty much the whole class, right? जो मैं सिखाया था, it was pretty much the selectors. I told you there are three types of selectors. Correct. एक element selection selector है, that is body selector. And the next thing is what we call as the class selector, that is dot class name. Okay. And also we had looked at the third one, that is hashtag, that is for ID selector. Okay. That is for ID selector. And this is how you use different types of selectors. That is, एक बार फिर लिख के बता देता हूँ. Element, ऐसे element selector मतलब for example हो गया for let's say div tag के लिए, या let's say paragraph tag, right, or let's say a link tag, whatever it is, जो भी है, whatever the the tags you have, you can directly use that and give a styling that is called as element tag, or sorry, element selector. The second selector was the class selector. Okay, or let's say class name, and you give this with a dot. How do we use this? We use it with, let's say, example dot bnt dot whatever have we used, you that, let's say bnt1, again whatever the class names you'll be using, that is the what the selector you'll be putting it with the dot function, right? Let's say dot nt2, whatever, right? Whatever the class name is, the class name followed by the brackets is how you give or you use the class selector. The last selector is id selector. Okay, id. So for that we use what we call as the hashtag, that is hashtag, let's say one, something like this, or hashtag, let's say writing, or whatever the id you give, right? That is how you use it. Same thing, this is the types of these types of selectors. Also we spoke about the different the combination of selectors. I think one question was remaining in that. That is, how do we use multiple types of selectors? One selector, for example, you can use div, okay, and paragraph, like this, directly with the comma. Okay, so this is how you combine two types of selectors with the comma. Also, if you are using parent and child class, now I've never spoken about parent and child, let's have a look. So that is where you can use a div within a class, or if you have multiple types of selectors within one division, you can use, that is where a parent class will come in, a child class will come in, right? So how do we link it? That is also possible. I don't think we looked at that in the last class. So for example, let's say, let's go to the code and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So inside this nav button, okay, there is a class act. Okay, we have used the same class everywhere. So let's see if we can find, here we go. In this division, there are button 1, button 2, button 3, and we have a common class, that is button, correct? Now, if we are using these three in the same type, how do we use it? How do we use the same thing within the same thing? Okay, we can use something like, or let's say, let's give this also a class, say buttons, okay, with 2s, buttons. Now, how do we use this thing? We can use, let's say, buttons buttons dot, what is the parent class within that? We have button, we have bnt1, we have bnt2, correct? So one class within that another class is what we are referring to. Within the division of a button, okay, we're using a class for buttons. Okay, I hope you're understanding this. This is how you use multiple types of classes or multiple types of selectors together. The let's change it to, let's actually keep it para. Okay, the class name is para for the division, and the button name, let's say I want button 3. How do I design? Either I can directly select dot button tn, okay, or I can select para within that button tn. So now what happens? Everything which is within para and has the button this particular tag will be changing. For example, let's say if I have another class with another button, something like this. Now these three will also be affected. Why? Because it has the same class. Which in what? Within para. So within dot para, dot button 3 will be affected. This is how we use multiple types of buttons. Okay, I think this is what we did in the last class. Okay, I think Yogita, I hope you got it. Okay, इतना ही हुआ था. If you want more, I think you can refer the recording as well. Yes, Yogita.
सर आईडी सिलेक्टर एक बार यूज करके बता दो.
आईडी सेलेक्टर, ठीक है दिखाता हूँ। तो अगर आप आईडी सेलेक्टर सीखना चाहते हो, let's put all of this in a code. Like this. So, for example, let's say, let's actually make a new text. This is a lot. Let's come in header and main. Let's say I add a new ID. For example, paragraph. So this is something what I use. So the text. Okay. Let's copy this 1 or 2 times. Format it. Okay. So now what I do is I create a ID. How do I do it? ID equals, and I give a name. Let's say my website, my web. So this is one ID name. Okay. The thing about ID is that you cannot have more than one similar ID. Okay. Class, you can have the same type of classes everywhere. Okay. Doesn't really matter if you use the class within the A tag, within the H tag. If you can use the same type of class anywhere. But for ID, it's not like that. Once you have defined the ID name, you cannot reuse it anywhere else. Okay. So for this, what I do is I have to create a new ID here. New ID, um, let's say images, something like that. So whatever the ID name is. Okay. If you have used ID here and here, how do you use it in CSS? You use something called as hashtag. Okay. What is the ID name? My web. Okay. And you open a bracket. Now, whatever the text color you give, for example, color is this, background color is something around, let's say, black. The border is around 3 pixels, solid
सर
green
ये कैसे
or
पता लगेगा कि क्लास यूज करनी है, आईडी सिलेक्टर यूज करना है, या सिंपल एलिमेंट यूज करना है, एलिमेंट सिलेक्टर यूज करना है, वो कैसे पता लगेगी?
okay, okay, बताता हूँ, एक minute. So let's put in a color here. Let's put red. Okay. So how do we get to know what do we have to use? Okay, that is your question, right, Yogita? Either we use ID, either we use class, either we use a element. How do we get to know? So let's understand one thing. When you're coding, okay, there are so many different elements you will be looking at. Okay. So what happens is you will be confused. Hey, there are so many of categories जो है. For example, यहीं पे there are so many types of buttons. Okay. My question is, how do I differentiate one button from another button? Okay. You can differentiate it in these three selectors. That is how you differentiate. One, if you use the selector button, what happens? Anywhere you use the button tag, that style will come to that particular button. Okay. But then you're like, hey, I don't is page mein na, I don't want this particular button. Just say I have kept it for all the other buttons. I don't want that. So I want something new here. How do I do it? That is where you're like, hey, let's use ID. So what happens when you use ID? Na, only that color, that particular button with that ID will have a different color or different style or different format, whatever it is. If you're using class, now what is the use of class? Say that you have like 4 or 5 pages, web pages, okay, and you want in all the page, okay, you have kept 3 or 4 types of buttons. One button is let's say a download button. One button is a Google form button. Okay, one button is, let's say, an interactive button, an alert button. So these are the 3 buttons you have used. One is the download button. One is the Google form button. One is the whatever the button you want. So these are the 3 types of buttons you have. In all the pages, you're like, hey, I want in all the pages, button is being used, tag. Okay, button tag is being used, but only for the first sector, that is download button. I want it to be in this particular format, in this particular color, this particular font family. So this is where you use class. What happens if for the download button you give the class name as download, okay, and you style it into that particular thing, and all wherever you use the download class, only that type of styling will be coming. That means the same color, same font, same thing will be across everywhere. If you are using it for, let's say, Google Forms, okay, Google Forms, that forms we saw, no? Forms color. So if you click on that button, what will happen? The same font will be shown here, right? So this is how you use class for different types of the same element. If you want it in different places, but you want it consistent, right? You use class. If you're like, no, I want इस पेज में इस जो भी एलिमेंट है इसका ही मुझे चेंज करनी है और बाकी सब ऐसा ही रखना है, so that is where you use id. ठीक है, element is for anything, anywhere you use a button, anywhere you use a division tag, anything, any type of tags you use, that is where you can change. It is constant for every page, but when you're using class, only those class will be active once you use it. Okay, that means in the same class I can keep 2 to 3 classes. For example, let's say a download, this is the download button. Okay, this is the download button I keep. This is the Google button. It's I'll say G button. Okay, this one I'll keep it as, let's say, contact button, something. So now what happened? I have 3 classes in the same thing. What happened? What is the use of this? This will help me classify it more simply or more individually. अगर जहां पे भी मैं BNT यूज किया हूँ, सबका फॉन्ट एक ही आना चाहिए, लेकिन when I'm using BNT and Google button जो यूज कर रहा हूँ ना, वहीं पे I want a little bit of hovering action होना चाहिए, or let's say I want a little bit of drama when it happens. So when the button is being clicked, so there's a JS script which is being used there, right? So this is how you are able to manipulate it individually or use it separately. Okay, so that is the whole concept of using selectors. जहां पे भी you use any type of selectors, you have to understand what do you want in that page. Okay, is it okay if I use the normal selector, the element selector, right? Or should I create a class for it, right? Or should I create only for that an ID for it, right? So that whenever you want to use that particular thing again, you can easily say, huh, oh, this button, right? This is for download button. This download button ke liye I have given the class as BNT1 download, okay? Or just a download, right? So wherever the class download is being used, that is where you can give styling to, and you can change it immediately, right? This is also how you do debugging also. This is majorly for debugging. आपको सिर्फ समझने के लिए नहीं है. It's also for debugging. What is debugging? It is to figure out where and what is the thing which is going wrong in a code. Okay. Again, if you don't know coding, there are 3 types of debuggings which you normally used to do, have to do. So one is logical, one is syntax error, one is the comment error or the logical error, right? So in within that particular thing is where you use the debugging for, and that is why you divide it and call it as debugging. Okay, let's move on. Yogita, I hope you understood. Right?
सर
कोई और doubt?
सर मैपिंग पैडिंग में डिफरेंस
Sorry,
मैपिंग और पैडिंग में डिफरेंस
snapping or
पैडिंग में डिफरेंस
snapping? I don't think I've used. There is a difference between width and height. Okay, you
सर
are putting
मैपिंग
this.
पैडिंग यही चीज है बिल्ड और राइट
Sorry, your voice
मैं
is
मैपिंग पैडिंग विड्थ और हाइट ही है
समझा नहीं. मैपिंग बोल रहे हो, क्या बोल रहे हो?
सर
ये
मैपिंग और पैडिंग में डिफरेंस पूछ रही हूँ
मैपिंग,
यस
आप
सर
मैप टैग पूछ रहे हो क्या? There's a tag called map. Are you using? You want this thing, or you want to know the actual difference between padding?
I think sir, margin and padding.
Margin and padding. Okay, okay. हाँ,
I think so.
margin and padding. Yeah. Thank you, Gaurav. Yeah. Okay. Margin and padding जो है, देखो, it's very simple. Margin, first of all, you have to understand. Let's understand this only. जो जो भी आप लिखे हो in the code, for example, let's say this is what you have written. Okay. If you want, let me actually put it in this way. Let me even draw it properly so that it will make more sense. Someone has joined in now. Who is that? Let me draw it and show it to you. It will make more sense. Okay. So what is the padding? So there are two things: padding and margin. Okay. It's very confusing if you don't understand what it is. Very good question, Yogita. तो इसको समझे के लिए, I'm sorry, my Hindi is a little off. So what we do is, let's say this is a download button. Okay. Let's keep it simple. If this is a download button, so what is padding in this button and what is margin? Now let me take a pen. So anything, this is the content, correct? Matlab download is the content which you have written. Okay, this is what you have written. Now, apart from this, wherever within the border. Okay, now here is the border, right? This is the border of what? The button. Button का border है. Within the border, जहां पे भी ये text दिख रहे हैं ना आपको. Excuse me. So this all is what we call as padding. This is what it is, padding. Okay. Or whatever is outside, whatever is outside, this is what we call as margin. Okay. Padding is something inside, margin is something outside the border. Okay. And this margin you can give as many as you want, padding also as many as you want. Okay. Padding is inside the button, matlab inside the border, margin is outside the border. अगर आप for example, let's go back to the output. Okay. This is not. For example, if I want to put the, if I want the differences between like this, for example, or let's say code में दिखाता हूँ, रुको एक minute. What I'll do, I'll take 3 buttons and I'll say something like this. I'll keep copy. Now this is what I have done. Okay. So now you see everything is okay. It's coming proper. Let me put it in a different class. Okay. This is somewhere here. A button is somewhere here. Okay. So what I can do with the padding or the margin. Okay. अगर आप padding increase करोगे for let's say button 1 or let's say okay, let's increase the padding here. Okay. Style, padding, and let's say I increase it for 10 pixels, and this is common for all the buttons. यहाँ पे भी, यहाँ पे भी.
तो
So
डायरेक्ट इसमें HTML कोड में भी कर सकते हैं इसको यूज.
this is called inline. I think I had explained this. This जो मैं कर रहा हूँ, this is called inline. आपको हमेशा यहीं पे लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. आपको 3 टाइप की the flexibility is given. One is inline, next is internal, that is header पे लिख सकते हो within the heading tag, sorry not the heading tag, within the head tag, and external, that is in the like this एक और document में लिख सकते हो. Right. So this is, I'm just explaining about the within the inline. This is what I call as inline writing. Okay, inline coding, whatever. Okay, so now what I've done, I've given a little padding for all the button. Okay, let's save this. Now this is the button. Now you can see the button inside the button, the size has changed. Okay, for example, let's say inside for 20, I'll give it 20 here, and I'll give 30 here. Okay, let's save. Huh. Now inside the button, the distance has changed, but not in between the buttons. Correct. So let's say, hey, I want this button and this button to have a little bit of a gap. So what do? We add margin. Okay. Let's say I keep margin around 4 here, 4 pixels. I add margin around, let's say, 10 pixels. Okay. And same thing, I'll add margin around 30 pixels. So what am I doing? For each button now padding नहीं change कर रहा हूँ. Inside जो padding का button का size है वही रहेगा. लेकिन the difference what I'm changing is the distance. Okay, so this is how margin will help you. Okay, अगर मैं इस बटन और इस बटन की distance change करना चाहता हूँ, this is how the padding margin will change. Okay, also note margin your I have put for button. Okay, this is 10 and this is margin here is 30. Okay, the distance you are getting is totally 40 pixels. मतलब इस 10 का भी आएगा plus 30 इस button का भी आएगा. So totally there's 40 pixels which is being used. Okay, to make it even more simpler, let's make it even more simpler. Uh, Margin on the right side, मतलब इसकी side जो है, let's keep it as right. Okay, there's right, left, top and bottom. Okay, for margin के लिए है, for padding के लिए है. Okay, so for right is 10. Okay, let's keep it 10 only. And this is as usual. Okay, margin is 30. Actually, let's make this left. Okay, so it's the same thing, right? So now what is happening? Only the left side is changed. इसके लिए इस बटन के लिए लेफ्ट साइड चेंज हुआ है और इस बटन के लिए राइट साइड चेंज हुआ है. Okay, but this is now decreased because it is now only taking the button one size. What is the button one? That is 4 pixels. Okay, but that means यहाँ पे margin left is not given at all. Margin left is not taken. Only margin 4 for this button is taken. इस बटन का margin is being taken, not this margin left side. Okay, so this is how you use margin left, right, top, bottom. Okay. Okay. Any other question, Yogita? I hope. Can you use inline
Sir,
button or something?
एच ओवर किस लिए यूज हुआ बटन टैग के अंदर?
मैंने कौन
सीएसएस
सा?
में.
हाँ हाँ, यहाँ पे. हाँ बोलिए, कहाँ पर? कहाँ पे? What's the question again, Yogita? Okay, Vidika says, can we use internal and center? Yes, you can.
Sir,
You can. Yes,
sir,
Yogita, बोलिए.
एच ओवर किस लिए यूज हुआ है बटन टैग के अंदर?
बटन टैग के अंदर कौन सा?
एच ओवर.
H hover.
यस सर.
H hover कहाँ पे यूज हुआ है?
सीएसएस
इसमें क्या? ओके, इसमें. ओके, hover जो यूज हुआ है, that is for, let's go to the, आपको, हाँ, जब मैं इसकी जो अब आपका अब क्या कलर दिख रहा है आपको, राइट? व्हेन आई हवर ऑन दिस, मतलब जब मैं मेरे माउस को यहाँ इस बटन के अंदर ले आऊंगा तो इसका कलर चेंज होगा. ओके, सो दैट इज व्हाट हवर विल डू. अभी जो हवर का बटन है, वेयर इज हवर? लेट्स फाइंड हवर.
ऊपर सर.
हाँ, यहीं पे, राइट? तो अगर मैं लेट्स नॉट यूज दिस फॉर नाउ, ओके, जो अब आउटपुट आएगा, लेट्स सी. So now if I bring my mouse to this, I cannot know if this is an image or a button. जो भी है मुझे पता नहीं चलेगा until I click on it, right? If you can see, if I click on the button, there is a small action going on. Okay, that is different. That is different. लेकिन how will I immediately get to know if this is a button or not? इसीलिए we use something called as hover. That means जब भी मैं मेरा माउस उस बटन के ऊपर ले आऊंगा तो उसका कलर चेंज होगा या कुछ एक्शन आएंगे, राइट, कुछ होगा उसके साथ, तो तब पता चलेगा हाँ ये बटन है, राइट. सो दैट इज द रीजन आई हैव यूज्ड द बटन हवर. हवर मतलब जब मैं मेरी माउस उसके ऊपर ले जाऊंगा तब उसका कलर चेंज होगा. दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज हैपनिंग हियर. लेट्स चेंज द कलर इनटू रेड. मतलब अभी जो कलर है वही कलर रहेगा, लेकिन जब मैं मेरी माउस इसके ऊपर लेके आऊंगा तब उसका कलर चेंज होने वाली है. लेट्स सेव दिस. ओके, if I hover on this, the color will change. Then I'll get to know, this button is here, this button is here, this button is here, right? This is how hover usually works. Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, display
Display. Okay, display
in
actually
an
maybe, display में भी ज्यादा यूज नहीं किया हूँ. So usually it's used to display जो भी आपका box container है, so इसका the way you want to show it. For example, let me undo this. Okay. So what that मतलब this display आप बता use कर रहे हो, right? So when you want to use the display attribute, you actually will put जो भी आपको styling दिखानी है, that is what you put. For example, let me actually get to the actual definition. मुझे भी इसका exact definition याद नहीं है. So let me say tag flex, not flex. Okay. So again, this is for different attributes. Okay. So display is used for जो भी आपको दिखानी, you want to show it properly. That is the same thing you use display for. Let's see example. Okay. Okay. This is a very bad example. So display is usually used something like this. Okay. I don't think this is also the right thing. Hold on. This is not also not the right thing. Okay.
So
I
I show
think
it in
there is.
MDN reference, no?
Sorry.
MDN reference. In the VS Code, there is an MDN reference.
Correct. Who's it? Yes.
Go on
Mhm.
VS Code.
VS Code. Uh-huh.
Hover on display.
Mhm.
There is an MDN reference
Oh,
of that.
yeah. Good point. Yeah. Okay, in combination to float determines the box of
So
boxes are
click on
generated.
MDM reference.
Where exactly here?
Yeah, and open.
Concept plus.
Open.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. This also works. Oh, I think it's for the border specifically or the complete. Okay. Okay. Good thing to know. Okay. So I think it is used exactly for the way you want to display it. I think again, same thing. The way you want to display is what you are trying to show. So inline box is where you are making it a row. Block is where you're making it into a complete box. And flex, you put everything here. It's that means there's no gap. Grid, matlab you're keeping it in the grid manner. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, interesting. Okay, so this is for display. Okay, interesting. I hope Yogita you also understood.
yes sir. सर एक
Mhm.
डाउट हो रहा है.
Mhm.
हैशटैग
पूछिए.
नेम डॉट सेट टू ये कैसे यूज हुआ साथ में दो सिलेक्टर
Hashtag.
नीचे hashtag name, दो सेलेक्ट
इसका
कैसे यूज किया?
अरे ये तो आई वाज टेस्टिंग समथिंग आउट, तो उसका कुछ नहीं है, इट्स नॉट यूज एनीवेयर, आई जस्ट पुट इट देयर, दैट्स इट। ठीक है, उसका कहीं पे भी यूज नहीं हुआ है अभी भी। आई वाज कीपिंग इट फॉर समथिंग एल्स, आई थिंक आई वाज एक्सप्लेनिंग समथिंग, वहीं पे मैं लिखा था, एंड इट्स दैट्स इट, नथिंग
सर
एल्स।
ऊपर करना कोड। सर लाइफ स्टाइल टाइप ये
कौन सा?
नेविगेशन टैग में नेविगेशन यूआर टैग में ये लाइफ स्टाइल टाइप ये वाला।
ये वाला?
सर
ओके, दिस इज टू लिस्ट, आपका जो भी लिस्ट है उसका क्या ये रहेगा वो बता रहा है। मतलब वेट, विल गो टू दिस थिंग ओनली, who's coming in now man? This one, let's look at this one only. Okay, and who's coming in now? Okay, okay, this is for the buttons, I guess, the inline, the listing buttons. Okay, I think you can use different colors also. You can use UTF for this also. You can use in different unique characters for these. So not only these, you can also use somewhere else also. Oh, okay, so there's something important, there's something interesting I can show you to for this particular tag. I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you in coming classes. I'll show it to you. So this, what is exactly this doing? जो image आपको दिख रहा है ना, वही आपको change करेगा, मतलब dot आएगा, star आएगा, and you can change all of these here. Okay, this is for list style. Okay, none मतलब there is no style which is being given there. Okay, yes, okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay, guys. Let's go. Let's get back into the bootstrap. जो I was trying to explain that. Let's close all of these. Let's go to bootstrap. Okay. So this is the bootstrap framework which I have. No, now for this particular thing, there are two to three things which you have to understand first. First of all, you can use a bootstrap by downloading it. मतलब what is bootstrap? It's a framework. मतलब आपको हर टाइम इन द कोड यू डोंट हैव टू गो एंड सेट द पैडिंग फॉर हर जगह फुटर की इसकी दिस इज द पैडिंग यू वांट, राइट? यू डोंट हैव टू डू इट ऑल द टाइम. So that is the same thing you do in the framework. Framework may is already there, right? You just have to copy and paste, drag and drop up. If you have heard of drag and drop, something very similar you can use with the uh, bootstrap as well, right? So for that आपको बस bootstrap की website जानी है. This is the bootstrap website. Come to docs. Okay, and two things you have to understand. One is that you can always download it. मतलब यहाँ पे डाउनलोड का ऑप्शन दिया जाएगा, दिस इज द डाउनलोड बटन. ओके, आपको डायरेक्टली डाउनलोड करके आप इंस्टॉल कर सकते हो. और ओके, यू कैन डायरेक्टली यूजिंग द इंटरनेट आप उसको लिंक की यू कैन लिंक द डायरेक्ट कोड इनटू द कोड. ओके, मतलब व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज दिस इज द कोड, दिस इज द नॉर्मल कोड. ओके, if you want to add in css bootstrap also, you have to just copy this code and put it inside your particular file. How do we do it? That's what we'll learn. One, let's download it first, and I'll show you what I mean when I say it's already there. Download hua. Okay, let's go to downloads and let's extract it. You'll get JavaScript also, you'll get CSS also. Okay, so we just have to find that folder. You get CSS and JS folder. So let's open the main bootstrap. This is the main bootstrap. Open this. Open. So यहाँ पे you will understand how exactly is the framework built on. Okay. मतलब अगर आप कुछ classes use करना चाहते हो या if you want to use some type of IDs which has already been there, this is how you can come and see. If I use this particular thing, this particular thing will be used. Like for example, okay, I'll come to this later on. I think you'll get confused if I show this one. Okay, one thing is you download it here. Okay, second is you can directly import the code directly from this particular thing. So what you do is यहाँ पे आओ, click on copy to clipboard, open the VS Code. Okay, let's go back to CSS. No, HTML. Let's actually create a new HTML package. Let's say boot and .html, and I will paste the code which we have copied. Okay. तो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ, लिंक पे एक उसका CDN है और यहाँ पे एक CDN है. ओके, सो सॉरी माय बैड. CDN का मतलब है it is content delivery network. Okay, so it is basically using this link. कहीं पे ऑलरेडी CSS लिखा है इन द सर्वर, एंड दैट सर्वर का आप लिंक यहाँ पे यूज कर रहे हो. सिंपल एज दैट. फॉर बोथ JS also, for JS you have used here, for CS you have used here. Okay, you can link that link, both sides use कर सकते हो. Next, after you have done this, let's look at the output. Okay, let's stop this. Let's start a new one. So this is the new page which we have linked. Let's design a website very quickly using this a little bit at least. Okay. So what does a website have? It has a header, it has body, and it has a footer. Three things. Let's get these three things in a very quick manner and learn how to actually use Bootstrap very simple or easily. Okay. For that, after you have copied this, okay, after you have pasted, there are few. If you scroll down, there is something called as components. Okay, मतलब buttons we looked at, right? So buttons यहाँ you can just copy paste the code. There's cards, there's carousel, there's close button, there's drop down button. What I want, okay, is a navigation bar. Navigation का मतलब है header. So let's come to nav bar. Let's say I just want a code. So something like this, I will copy it. Okay, I'll copy, I'll come to the code. Inside the body, I will paste. Okay, let's format it a little and let's save it. So now you have a little bit of border here. Okay, you have a little bit of nav tag border here. So that means there's a search option. यहाँ पे search कर सकते हो. There's a drop down. You can use the different drop downs here. Right. So this is the types. This is how you can immediately take in a lot of things. And if you want to change some things, we'll look at how to change things. Okay. Let's go step by step. Let's look at how to change things later on. Okay. So there is nav button. Okay, that is navigation. You can directly import whatever you want. Next is, let's say I want something like, okay, let's add in few images. Let's add a carousel. Okay, let's go to carousel. This is the slider which we get. Okay, इसका code immediately यहाँ पे मिल जाएगा. So let me add this code here. If you go to the code, I want it after the division tag. So let me put it here. Okay, so after the nav tag, I have put it. I'll put the carousel here. Let's save this. Let's go to the image. It's not saved. Yeah, it's showing, but because there's no images, it's not showing properly. It's there, but because of there's no image. Let's link the image. I'll show you how to link the. Linking the image is pretty similar. It's pretty straightforward. Let's put the right images there. So this is one thing. Okay, let's go to the code. Let's say buttons. I want 2 or 3 buttons. So here are different types of buttons. Let me copy. Okay, let's copy. No, I don't want all of it. Let me copy 3. Let me come down, and after the tag, let me put this here. Let me save it. Also. Okay. So let's see the output. So here is the 3 buttons. यहाँ पे भी there is a slider there. Don't worry, it's still not visible yet. Let's say I want. Let's go back. Let's say I want pagination will come in end. Let's put in some breadcrumbs. Okay, let's put a breadcrumb. There are three different styles of breadcrumbs. So I want this type. This is the second navigation. Let's put it here. यहाँ पे डालूंगा और this is how the navigation will look like. So on and so forth. You can make a website very quickly with the help of this type of CSS usage. Let's say I want a card. That let's say I want a card. Copy this. I'll add it after the buttons. Here is a card. That means a button. The image is not linked yet, so that's why there's a button here. There's a small description of the image, and the image will be shown on top if we link the images. Okay. So again, quickly let's make something else. List of menus. I think we have looked at all these. Okay, now let's add a little bit of changes and see how do we actually change. One, that means you have to understand what are the changes available within the bootstrap. Matlab, because this is already built, correct? And you are, all your job is to understand what are the available changes which you can make. For example, let's go to the help tag, no, the utilities and color. Okay, let's go to color. And there are few things which is preset. Let's actually go to buttons. Now we'll come to colors later on. Go to buttons, it will show you easily. Okay, so buttons, this is the same button which we have used. Okay, and you can see that each button has a different class. Okay, that means primary here, secondary here, success here, danger here, right? Now, these are not only the class. Okay, that means there are with this class there are few attributes set. That means agar aap success use karoge, success is usually known for green color, correct? Danger is usually known for red color. Warning is usually known for yellow color, right? So you already have these things. आपको अगर change करनी है, you can just have to change it here. Class name आपको change करनी है, and it will automatically change the complete structure of that button, right? And this is the normal link. Like, this is a normal link, right? This is a normal link. So exactly like this, there are so many different uh, preset classes. You just have to know, hey, अब मुझे इस class use करनी है ताकि इसका जो भी styling है इस button के अंदर आ जाए या इसकी images के अंदर आ जाए. Okay. So this is how you actually create it. Let's actually change few things and have a look. So हमने what all have we imported by the way? Good output. We have the navigation bar, okay, with the search indication here, and the breadcrumb. What is a breadcrumb? I'll show you. Then we have a slider which is not shown because images nahi hai usme, so it's not being shown. Next thing is buttons and also a card and a hello world message. Correct. Let's quickly learn at least one this particular header, and we'll go into Q&A. Okay. We'll see what we can change with these things. That means इसका position कैसे change कर सकते हो, how to change the color, how to change the text, right? So let's quickly go to that particular thing. This is the navigation bar. Here we go. So first thing is very simple. If you want to change the titles here, you can change the titles here. For example, campaign. So this is one thing. Let's save this. That means normal text is being saved, right? Normal text has been changed here. And let's say I want to change a little bit of classes here and there. Okay. For example, let's say I want to change the background image or the body background of what the complete navigation bar. Okay, it's a navigation bar. You can change it something like dark. Let's say, and it's loaded. Let's say primary. Directly use it like this. Color is still not changed. So what you can do is just understand the go to colors. This is where you have to understand the colors. Let's go to colors and see. Let's go to background actually and understand what is the name you have given. Okay, so this is the name currently they are using. Okay, so this is you want to change the name, you can just come here and you can add this particular thing, remove the dot and save. Let's go to the code. Now this the color has changed here, right? So this is how you change the color. You just have to understand what color it is they're currently using. For example, I was using something like dark, right? So this is what I was looking for. I just have to copy this and I'm like, hey, I मुझे इस border का अंदर I wanted like this. So now it's black. I want the text color changed, right? You can change, you can find the text color. You can go to now here and you can see what the text color have they used. So for that, let's go to colors. What is the white color which they have used? So let's see white. Yeah. So let's say text, copy, brand, and let's say I want this. Okay, let's not here. Container fluid के अंदर class text डालूंगा. It's still not changed. It's changed for a little bit. Let's say we put it in this particular class. Or let's remove this now. Yeah, okay. So now the button for this is changed. Okay, this is the toggler for mobile, so let's not change that. Next, you can add this here. Not active. You can add it here. Actually, not missing. Brand name. And you should have changed. Yeah. So now the color changed. Let's change the position of it. This is the drop down menu, right? So let's see what is the drop down menu जो they have already written. So this is the collapse. This we have looked at. The home. What is that? Within that. So here is the drop down. So if you want to use the drop down and you want to change something here, you can definitely do that. Again, all you have to do is you have to understand, come to Bootstrap, you have to understand what is the display they have used, what type of floating images have they used, what type of links, what type of, again, everything to make a website, you don't have to code each and everything, correct? So this is one very easy or quick way of using CSS and the JS, okay? That means even for buttons, they can use it very quickly. If you want to make the website more responsive, you can use it with Bootstrap itself directly, correct? So this is a very quick way of using Bootstrap and with its utilities. There are very a few set things which is already being used. You can use it through with just going to the website, copying and pasting it. Simple as that. And once you are, in the habit, yes, somebody has unmuted. Okay. Okay, once you are in the habit of doing it, right? So you will have a set of frameworks which in your head, you'll like, this is what I want. So this is what you will be using in the websites. Okay. All right, guys, I think now is the right time for any doubts, any questions. I think you can ask me right now. So anything you want to ask, anything you feel, okay, I want to share this. Now is the right time. Anything you want to share? Until here, understood? Got it? Bored? Easy? Yes? Shama, okay. Muhammad Santoshini. All right, good. Okay, guys. So what exactly is going to happen is I will be giving you small assignment, like I said, right, in the last class. This one complete week will be learning everything as much as possible. So we'll be covering JS and Node.js. So these two things I'll try to cover as much as possible. I'll give you the basic rundown of JS and then how you use Node.js is what I'll use it for the backend and for MySQL. Okay, I'll show you exactly a little bit of structures of how to use MySQL. I'll show you. And with that, we'll be ending the training session. And right after the training session has been ended, I'll show you the complete project work. I'll give you the project work. So how the project work looks, something like this. Look, I'm already sharing this thing. So what I do is I have one of my, yeah. So here is the project. So this is one of my project. This is the project which I had given to one of my student. So let's open this project. What I do is I give that student a framework, a wireframe. Okay, and that person should, or you should actually give me do that using HTML or CSS, do the wireframe, okay, exactly how it looks like, and give it back to me. Okay, so this is what I have done. So I'm not sure where exactly. One second, let me see where is this wireframe, and I'll download it and keep this one, guys. So I'll show you exactly how the project will be working on. I should be. Yeah, here it is. Yes. Okay. So the wireframe which I had given to these students is something like this. Okay. This is how the website should look like. Okay. Static website. That means only HTML is enough. Only maybe here and there's styling you can use. Okay. This is one how the website should look like, is the one which I had given it to that person. And they had, I think, it given it to like 4 5 people this task, and they had returned back. I think one has returned one particular project, and this is how they have built the project currently. Okay, so this is the project which they have built and given to me. So something very similar you have to do. I'll give you the whole framework. I'll tell you, hey, मुझे इस type की एक project चाहिए. Okay, I want a project something very similar to this. So do it and give it to me. This is how you will also be asked if you are pursuing, the full stack development. The designer will come in, right? The graphic designer will design everything. A UX UI designer will design everything like this. Okay, we design each and everything like this, and they will give it to you. Your job is to make it happen. That is all your job is. Okay. The concept of making a website is very simple. This is it. This is the first image, second image, third image, fourth image. Something very exactly how we are done in the our output also. This is the header. Here is the images which you can add in, right? Then a little bit of changes here. Then the second part, third part, right? This is how the usual projects will be happening. I'll give you the framework. You have to give me the output of it. Simple as that. Okay. Right now, the output which I have received is something like this. There's about us button here. If I click on services, I'll go somewhere. If I click on about us, I'll come to this contact us page. Correct. So this is how you can link. You can. This is how the web pages will work. This is how the project also will be working. But first, not to worry. It will be given in a very simple manner. This is a little complex, so don't worry on how actually you will be getting it. Okay. All right, guys. Any other questions? Any questions? Please. Now is the right time. I hope you learned a little bit at least. You are better at a little bit. Yeah, especially me. Even I think I learned a little bit from Gaurav itself. So that is good. Right. Okay. Anything? Any questions, guys? Anything else you want to ask? Please feel free to. Shama Sharif, thumbs up. All right. Good. Others? Devras also. All right. Girish, Vedasai, Abhay. All right. Muhammad Ibrahim, Vedika. All right, guys. So if you, yes, Pratik.
Around which date you are giving us this project to make?
After 10th.
After 10. And what
After
is the
10th,
submitted
yes.
date to
Submission date
submit
is
this?
divided into two. Okay, आपको दो project दिए जाएंगे. First project is for 10 days. Second project is for 20 days. Okay. It depends. Actually, it is 15 days. To be frank, it is not 20 days. It's 15 days. 10 days plus 15 days. 5 days is for me to correct all the project work.
Sir,
Okay.
if the project work is done earlier, shall we submit it to you?
Yes. Yes. As soon as you're done with it, you can submit it or anytime you want. It's just that there's a time limit. आपको एक deadline दिया जाएगा, उसके अंदर आपको submit करनी है. अगर आपका project हो गया पहले से ही, you can submit it immediately. Not an issue at all. But project मैं दूंगा, not your project. मैं खुद दूंगा. So that is the project you will be doing. In case आप सर बता सकते हो कि सर मुझे कॉलेज में एक प्रोजेक्ट कर रहा हूं मैं ऑलरेडी आई एम ऑलरेडी डूइंग अ प्रोजेक्ट सो क्या मैं उसका कंटिन्यू कर सकता हूं हाँ yes only if you submit the project first and then after you have completed it you tell me sir मेरा प्रोजेक्ट ऐसा था now my project is like this right so this difference I will
Okay, sir.
consider that's it ठीक है
सर जैसे आपने ये पीपीटी दिखाई है ऐसे ही एक प्रोजेक्ट मिलेगा?
हाँ, so मेरा खुद का जो I'm working on, that is the same project I've given. So this is actually my campaign. This is my company which I'm working on. So this is the same thing which I've given to a lot of people. So let's see how the output will be from them. आपको भी एक डिफरेंट प्रोजेक्ट दिया जाएगा, तो उसका आउटपुट देनी है मुझे, ठीक है? यू हैव टू गिव मी द आउटपुट ऑफ दैट थिंग. दिस इज द सेम थिंग व्हिच आई हैव डिजाइन माय ओन. ओके, so ऐसे ही मैं I will design my own things and give it to you. You have to, your job is to make sure you're doing that and giving it back. Simple. This is how a website is developed, right?
ओके सर, दैट्स
Okay.
इजी।
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Any other questions, please? Okay. What I'll
सर
do is I will. Yes. पूछिए.
RGB का क्या मतलब है उसमें, कलर में किस लिए यूज होता है?
कहाँ पे?
कलर के अंदर RGB का क्या मतलब है, किस लिए यूज होता है?
RGB. Okay. Okay. So color का wait, it's better I show it to you. One, let's say color. Okay. कलर का आपको तीन वेरिएशन है. वन इज दैट हैशटैग लगा के आप कुछ भी लिख सकते हो. मतलब दिस इज हेक्सा डेसिमल कोड. व्हाट इज दिस? इट्स अ हेक्सा डेसिमल कोड. फॉर व्हाट? किसका कोड है? फॉर द कलर. ठीक है. दैट मीन्स आप यहाँ पे, अब अगर आप यहाँ पे क्लिक करोगे, हाँ, सो यू सी दिस इज व्हाट यू गेट. दिस इज द कलर स्पेक्ट्रम. करेक्ट. आपको एक हर कलर का एक अलग नंबर आएगा. दिस इज व्हाट यू कॉल एज हेक्साडेसिमल कोड. ठीक है. मतलब अगर आपको येलो चाहिए, तो आपको येलो का कोड यहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा रहेगा, राइट? एंड विथ ओपेसिटी. ओपेसिटी मतलब कितना ट्रांसपेरेंसी चाहिए आपको, वो ट्रांसपेरेंसी. तो ईच ट्रांसपेरेंसी के लिए और ईच कलर के लिए देयर इज अ डिफरेंट कोड विच यू कैन यूज. दिस इज वन वे. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज आपको RGB मिलेगा. RGB. RGB. RGB का मतलब है देयर इज रेड, ग्रीन एंड ब्लू. RGB का मतलब है रेड, ग्रीन एंड ब्लू. और जब भी आप इस तीन कलर को मिक्स करोगे, ठीक है, आपको डिफरेंट कलर्स मिलेंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल, लेट्स से आई चेंज दिस पर्टिकुलर कलर, समथिंग लाइक दिस. ओके. so this is one particular color. So इसका एक कलर का नंबर रहता है. आई थिंक इट्स अराउंड 457 और समथिंग लाइक दैट. मैं आपको कलर का कोड डायरेक्टली RGB color code max. I think it's 4 something like that. हाँ, no, it's 255. So from 0 to 255 आपको एक रेंज रहेगा. And when you are mixing all of these red, green and blue, आपको एक color आएगा. So that is the color which you use for putting it right there. मतलब something like this. So for example, अगर हम RGB यहाँ पे use कर रहे हो, तो there will be one color output जो आपको मिलेगा.